All signs point towards a cash-in on the Raw after Money in the Bank. I'm absolutely loving where this new Becky Hogan gimmick is going. He deserves to win a World Championship and should do so as a babyface. I'm Ben Allison here at Wrestling Republic, and you're watching Allison Analysis, where I analyze last night's episode of Monday Night Raw and give my 5 key findings. Let's get into it. In at number 5, so many fans are predicting a Sami Zayn heel turn, but it shouldn't happen. Can Sami Zayn pull off the heel role well? Absolutely, he has proved that. But at this point in his career, should he? Absolutely not. He is 40 years old and admittedly only has a few years left as a wrestler. Yet in my opinion, he deserves to win a World Championship and should do so as a babyface, so he can get that big moment in front of a big crowd. I mean, imagine that reaction he would get in front of a stadium packed full of Sami Zayn fans. It would be incredible, but if you turn him heel now, I think you might struggle to get him back to the point where he's as over as he is right now. Weeks ago, I predicted that the World Heavyweight Championship match for WrestleMania 42 should be Seth Rollins defending against Sami Zayn, with Sami Zayn finally getting his moment, and personally that is still what I am hoping for. In at number 4, I'm absolutely loving where this new Becky Hogan gimmick is going. I mean, that Becky Lynch promo last night was exceptional. She is leaning into everything the haters have been saying about it, and she delivered the promo so well that some parts of it really did feel real, and maybe they are, or maybe she's just a great actor, but either way this gimmick fits her perfectly. And when she returned after a long absence, I said she needed something a little bit new, a little bit fresh, and this is exactly that. I still do predict that she's going to dethrone Lyra for that Intercontinental Championship down the line, potentially even at Money in the Bank or before. But it is interesting that both her and Charlotte are cutting very similar promos. And like I said, I think on Saturday or Friday's episode of Allison Analysis, I do think it is in the realm of possibility that Becky Lynch genuinely does team up with Charlotte or something like that. Because like I said the other day, we know that was originally the plan for WrestleMania. In at number 3, I'm not a fan of WWE splitting up Roxanne Perez and Giulia this early. In case you haven't seen it, after Monday Night Raw, a promo was posted to WWE socials where Giulia basically split up with Roxanne. And it made less sense than them teaming together in the first place. I mean, they were working well as a team and had so much potential, and as clearly the NXT storyline was just ignored and not canon, I wouldn't have actually have minded potentially Stephanie Vaquer joining them and making a faction, perhaps even a female Nexus calling up some other stars from NXT's absolutely stacked women's division and establishing them as a huge deal on the main roster. But I guess that isn't the plan, and truthfully, I don't know what the plan is now, because if they just put them together and then split them up this quickly, I'm a little bit worried WWE don't really have many plans for them at all on the main roster, which would suck as both Giulia and Roxanne should be a huge deal. But I also do think they know that, because obviously they did just main event Raw last night. But it's just, I don't know why they split them up, because I would have liked to see them maybe in a triple threat match against Io Sky. I mean, maybe that's where this is going, but even still, this feels too early. But before we do get into my top 2 key findings, if you guys could leave a like and subscribe on this video, that would be massively appreciated. Here at Wrestling Republic, we create multiple high quality videos every single week, and in addition to that, we do a live daily stream every single day at 8 PM UK time, 3 PM Eastern time in America, and 12 PM Pacific time in America. I really hope to see you guys there. Thank you. In at number 2, my wrestling pet peeve is the inconsistency in rematch clauses. It should be simple. Either rematch clauses do exist or they don't exist. One or the other, but they can't both be true. I mean, for almost a decade, WWE was so inconsistent with them and it frustrated the living hell out of me. But over the last few years, they have been better. And I believe a year or two ago now, Adam Pearce said on Monday Night Raw that rematch clauses are no longer a thing. So in that case, why on earth is Gunther getting a rematch? Roman Reigns didn't get a rematch for the Undisputed title. I mean, Gunther didn't get a rematch for the IC title last time. What is the difference here? I mean, he beat Pat McAfee, but I mean, let's be real. I think anybody on that roster in kayfabe terms should beat Pat McAfee. Now, at the same time, don't get me wrong, I know 90% of fans won't care about this nearly as much as I do. Maybe it's a me problem, but I like things in wrestling to be logical and consistent, and this was neither. And in at number 1, all signs point towards a cash-in on the Raw after Money in the Bank. Why else would WWE announce that Gunther would be facing the winner of Jey Uso versus Logan Paul this far in advance and on such a particular episode of Monday Night Raw, the night after Money in the Bank? I mean, unless something big is planned for it, why not just do it on the Money in the Bank show? So the question is, who is cashing in on who? To me, and I think to everybody, it is obvious that Jey is going to beat Logan. Then Jey versus Gunther is a bit harder to call, but I still think Jey will win, or the cash-in will happen during the match. So the most obvious prediction, I guess, taking all of this information into consideration, is Seth Rollins will win Money in the Bank and will cash in and win that World Heavyweight Championship. But personally, that's just not the way I would go. I know this year they're not doing King of the Ring, but personally I would have done it and had Seth Rollins win that and have a World Championship shot against Jey Uso at SummerSlam where he would win. Meanwhile, I would have had Bron Breakker win Money in the Bank, and then all year you can do the teases between those two about Bron Breakker potentially cashing in on Seth, meanwhile promising that he's going to cash in on John Cena or whatever on Friday Night SmackDown. I think that would have been a great story to tell and could have lasted like an entire year. But regardless, this situation is one to keep an eye on and one I am excited for. But that's enough about my thoughts from last night's episode. Let's get into the thoughts that you guys have submitted to us via our Instagram broadcast channel. The first one is from Kev74007, who says the highs were Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus Roxanne and Giulia, the CM Punk return, and AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, and the lows, well, he had none. Well, I'm glad to hear you are fully positive about this episode, Kev, and I do agree that AJ Styles and Finn Balor was a lot of fun. Obviously, they are both getting on a little bit now, but anytime those two face off, I will put my butt in a seat and I will be watching with some popcorn. Up next, Lord Virus of Nurgula sent in the match with the War Raiders and American Made was decent, and the heel New Day are just gold at the moment, and Punk's promo was decent as well. I agree on both those points. I really am enjoying New Day as heels. I just wish they had some better competitors in that division, but hopefully there will be a draft soon and they can solve that problem. Up next, we have one from Shah Talk Scraps, who's saying Becky Lynch is what the game was missing. I don't know how MJF can even think he'd be at the same level promo-wise as her, the GOAT. Listen, this entire Becky versus MJF thing at the minute online is hilarious. I think they're both great promos, and last night Becky undoubtedly cut a phenomenal promo. The Real Som 2 then sent in that Rhea is being shoved down our throats as WWE fans. She shouldn't have been picked to win the match, and it would have been fresher to see the other team win. Now, one part of this I agree on and one part I disagree on. The part I agree on is that I do think Roxanne and Giulia should have won the match last night, and I would not have split them up this early. But the part I disagree on is Rhea being shoved down our throats. Because Rhea is factually one of WWE's biggest draws and factually the biggest draw in women's wrestling right now. So why wouldn't they push her? I mean, fans are still buying her merch, tuning into her segments. It just makes sense from a business perspective. And I'm also a big Rhea Ripley fan as well. Everything she does is great, so I don't really get the hate on that one. And last but certainly not least, we have one from David.S.48, otherwise known as David Sheldon, who is saying Gunther being put into a feud with Jey isn't the development that Gunther needs to rebuild his aura, especially as he'll likely lose again. Yeah, I don't disagree, David, honestly. I will say I do think there's a very strong possibility the cash-in happens during the match rather than having Gunther lose again. If he does lose again, it will be extremely dumb. But even still, I'm kind of a little bit sick. It feels a little bit stale at this point in this storyline. So yeah, I probably wouldn't have done it either. But overall, last night's episode of Monday Night Raw was enjoyable, but nothing too noteworthy. A few good things such as the Becky Lynch promo, as we keep touching upon in this episode, and it was easy to watch, so I'll say it's decent overall. But what did you guys think of the episode? Make sure you let me know in the comments down below, and as always, I will be replying to them. Also, if you want to see more episodes of Allison Analysis, there's a couple of them here. Thank you guys, have a great day, peace!